What a night in Tampa. It is sopping wet. College football in a downpour. UConn on the road to take on South Florida. Welcome to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Jimmy John's. You're watching the American on ESPN on this very wet night here in Tampa. And our matchup in the American, the UConn Huskies on the road to take on the South Florida Bulls. And hi, everybody. Dave Fleming along with Danny Cannell and Allison Williams. The weather's going to be a huge part of the story here tonight, no doubt. We also get into conference play, and I think, Danny, that's sort of the theme of the weekend. Lots of the best matchups all across college football are conference games.
Yeah, as teams start to jockey for those Final Four spots in the college football playoff, it becomes imperative that you play well against your conference. You want to be a conference champion. And it starts tomorrow night. Number 1 ranked Florida State has Clemson coming into town, and they're trying to fend them off without their quarterback, Jameis Winston, for the first half. Florida takes their new look offense on the road to Tuscaloosa to try to knock out Alabama. And Mississippi State is trying to do something they haven't done in seemingly forever. That's go into Baton Rouge and knock off LSU. They're feeling good about their quarterback, Dak Prescott. That one should be another great one. But conference play is so critical.
Yeah, that's a big part of the theme of Week 4 here, and certainly in the American Conference with this matchup. Maybe no conference in the country has undergone more change the last couple of years, and it's a league that looks wide open.
Yeah, quick. If you ask me to name all the teams in the American, I have to study up real quick. I mean, it is just confusing. But they've had some impressive wins. East Carolina at the top of the conference had a huge win against Virginia Tech last weekend. They almost locked off South Carolina. Cincinnati, another strong team for the conference. And then here, Connecticut and South Florida, they've had a rough start to the season, but they both know the importance of this game as it shapes up within the conference. They can turn it around, and they're both going to have to really work on ball security in this weather. It is nasty.
That will be a theme of the night for sure. The weather is a big part of the story. Young Marlon Mack and his South Florida Bulls getting ready for kickoff coming up next.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And Heineken. Open your world. Enjoy responsibly.
Dave Fleming, Danny Cannell back in sopping wet Raymond James Stadium for UConn and South Florida down in the elements. Let's welcome in our broadcast partner, Allison Williams.
Hey there, Dave. USF is simplifying things this week in an effort to build the team's confidence. This is especially true on offense, where they have dealt with a number of injuries at key positions. Their quarterback, Mike White, suffered a fracture to his left forearm, his non-throwing arm. He will wear a splint with a glove over that arm to help him deal with snaps, which should be real fun in the conditions tonight. Wide receiver Andre Davis remains out after bruising his sternum, and he gets some help on that offensive line. Left guard Thor Joswiak will return after dealing with some turf toe. Hopefully he can shore up that O-line. Those big guys are going to have to dig in tonight.
Well, you do figure, Allison, in this weather that the offensive lines will have a lot to do with the results of this game. South Florida won the toss. They defer, so UConn is going to get the ball first. Marvin Kloss, the kicker, will boom it deep. Josh Mariner, Arkell Newsom back to receive for UConn. And it'll be Newsom, the true freshman, who will bring it up across the 25 with a nice opening and dives forward across the 30. That's where UConn will have the ball first in this one. And their quarterback, the fifth-year senior Chandler Whitmer, did not start the year as the starter, but Chandler Whitmer has a lot of playing experience for the Huskies.
He does. He's a competitive quarterback. Bob Diaco, their head coach, told us earlier in the season, we had them week 1. He was very confident. The plan was to play he and Casey Cochran earlier, and due to Casey Cochran's retirement, here he is, the full-time starter.
Yeah, Casey Cochran's sophomore quarterback was the starter at the beginning of the year. He has not only been out, he has retired from football due to concussion problems. So it's Whitmer's team now, and the senior takes the first snap and hands off to Max DiLorenzo. Nice room, jumping over tacklers and nearly to midfield. So a good start for the Huskies offense.
This is a UConn Husky team that played Boise State really tough last weekend. They played at home, gave Boise State a pretty good run for their money through 3 quarters, and then just got away from them. And that was with giving up 8 sacks along the offense. So UConn still looking to kind of turn things around under new head coach Bob Diaco.
And a good start here tonight. 17-yard run for the junior Max DiLorenzo, who is alongside Chandler Whitmer on first down from the shotgun. First pass of the game, and he will throw short. There's a flag on the play as well. So incomplete and a penalty. We'll get the call here. Todd LaPenta, our referee tonight in the rain.
Holding offense, number 65, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So the penalty against UConn. Danny, how about our impact players when UConn has the ball?
Well, for UConn, they've got a stud at wide receiver in Jeremy Davis. He's a big body, 6'3", 216 pounds. They love to throw the fade to him in the end zone. And then for South Florida, a couple of young players for the defense. Jamie Bird at the safety position and Nigel Harris. He's had a big year so far as well. A couple of sacks. And he can run, cover a lot of ground on the defensive side of the ball. Well,
there is Jeremy Davis, who will be on the sideline for this play, but a big target and a big playmaker for the Huskies. 1st and 20. And the I formation, DiLorenzo, the tailback, gets another carry, trying to get to that edge, and he'll be wrestled down. Good tackle by the safety, Nate Godwin.
Well, it looked like a horse collar, but I believe Nate Godwin, did he get enough off of it? He started there, and then he used it to propel his whole body around the side. But I think if he would only had that one left arm, that hook, and brought him down, it would have been without a doubt horse collar. But because he was able to get his right arm around, it made it look like a acceptable tackle.
So 3-yard gain and no penalty flag against the Bulls. We might have gotten away with one there. It's Ron Johnson, the true freshman. Whitmer, pressure to the ball, comes out. It's loose on the field, scooped up, no, still loose, and finally South Florida falls on the ball. Chris Dunkley, the defensive back, in there to recover the fumble, and I think he's the guy who got in on the quarterback and forced it as well.
He is. They brought him just off the edge. Here's Dunkley right here, just comes completely unblocked to the quarterback off the edge. That's a miscommunication by the left tackle and left guard. One of those guys has to kick out and take Dunkley, because you can see Chandler Whitmer thinks he has time, has no idea there's a free player coming from that backside. And it's hard to control the football when you're clean in the pocket. When you get hit like that, it's almost impossible to keep control of it and not fumble.
So the first big play in this game, the Bulls create a turnover, which they have done very well in the early part of this season. Tight end in motion, and White, the quarterback, hands off to their outstanding freshman tailback Marlon Mack, who does not have a lot of room to run on first down. Well, Mike White, who is a true sophomore, was forced into action last year, Danny, probably a little early, a guy who came very green to this Bulls program.
Yeah, he hasn't even played that much football. Just 1 year of high school football, was forced into action, as you mentioned, last year, but he's got huge upside. He's got a good physical tools. He's tall, 6'4", 210 pounds, and they really are excited about the future for Mike White.
He never took a live snap as a quarterback until his senior year of high school. And now he is the Bulls starter. Handoff, Mack, room, left side, and a little move there to get by the tackler and right near that first down mark. And across the first down mark, Javon Williams made the stop.
You're going to see a steady dose of Marlon Mack. He's been really the one bright spot for this USF offense, which has struggled with injuries in the offensive line and wide receiver position. But Marlon Mack has been the one constant for this offense.
True freshman, 195 pounds, from Booker High School, which is just down the road in Sarasota. Mack has made a huge impression early in his Bulls career. So it's 1st and goal, South Florida. From the pistol formation, they give it to Mack, straight ahead running, and Mack powering his way toward the goal line and stopped just short, right around the 1.
And he was driving that whole pile. Look at all the white helmets it takes to get Marlon Mack down. You see his knee goes down about the 2-yard line. But man, that was an exceptional effort from number 5, Marlon Mack.
Well, the Bulls have not been a good offensive team so far this year, but that guy, Chris Dunkley, with the sack, the strip, and the recovery, gives South Florida great field position, now trying to capitalize. On 2nd and goal, Still Mack behind White, and he gets the handoff left side, picking his way forward. He's in. Touchdown, South Florida. The turnover turns into a touchdown, and the Bulls strike first. So the true freshman having a great start to his college career. Another touchdown. He had 4 in his first ever collegiate game. Marlon Mack, some powerful running. Marvin Kloss, one of the better place kickers, I think, in the country, with the extra point on the way, and good. So the strip sack, the fumble recovery, and the powerful running of Marlon Mack. The defense creates the opportunity, and South Florida in the rain jumps out to the 7-0 lead. Well, maybe the rain lightening up a little bit. It is sopping wet here in Tampa, South Florida, with the defense coming up with the turnover and then turning that into 7 points. The Bulls lead the UConn Huskies 7-0. There's the true freshman Marlon Mack, who looks like a big-time star. Another touchdown run for him.
Yeah, we talked to Willie Taggart about him yesterday, and you can see his eyes light up about the potential of this young running back.
Well, a guy who played safety in high school. There's Chris Dunkley, a guy who played wide receiver in college until this year. First time on defense, and he's the guy who created the turnover. There's Marlon Mack. He went in the opposite direction from defense to offense and has found a home as the lead running back for South Florida. The Bulls will kick it off, and it's Newsome and Mariner once again deep. A low kind of squib type kick. Newsome will scoop it up around the 15. And across the 30, the true freshman who's got a nice burst. UConn comes back on the field here for the second time. Their sophomore starting quarterback, Casey Cochran, there he is. Career-ending concussion against BYU. The accumulation of a lot of head injuries over the years. So a kid who loves football, forced to give the sport up. He's still part of the program. Yeah, we saw that game. We covered it. He got banged up pretty good. And like we've seen around the country with David Ash at Texas, so many young players having to retire due to concussions. Chandler Whitmer, who's got a lot of experience under center. He's now the QB for this UConn team, and I think the Huskies jumped. Whether it was the running back who moved or maybe the tight end, Tommy Myers, who jumped early. So we'll get the call here after the flag.
False start. Offense. Number 80. 5-yard penalty. First down.
If I'm South Florida and I'm Chuck Bresnahan, the defensive coordinator, I am bringing the house every time. I mean, this is a UConn offense that has struggled mightily. They've given up 16 sacks on the year. You already got them once tonight. And these conditions, it makes it tough to throw, because normally you can check out. You know, if you see a blitz coming, you check out of it. But if I'm South Florida, I'm saying, go ahead. You beat us with that pass game. Well, there's Chuck Bresnahan, who's got experience as a defensive coordinator in the NFL. A couple different stops, so he's been around a long time. Josh Mariner, the redshirt freshman tailback, on 1st and long after the penalty. Mariner bouncing it left side and trying to cut it upfield. Still going. Finally dragged down around the 40-yard line, so he gets 10 yards on that first down carry. And they will use a committee of backs. This Huskies team, they, unlike South Florida, which very quickly has identified a primary runner, the Huskies haven't yet done that. And maybe by design, they have some talented players in the backfield. So it's 2nd down and 4. Mariner trying to pound his way toward that first down mark. He gets close, but I don't think all the way there. This is the type of game where if you're the head coach, you're telling your guys, hey, it's going to be ugly, expect some bad plays, but get ready for a physical game. And you're telling every back, every wide receiver, anybody who touches the football, to make sure you wrap it up with extra special care. You saw Bob Diaco, first-year head coach, first-time head coach, the defensive coordinator, highly acclaimed from Notre Dame. UConn might have jumped again. Yeah. Man, the Huskies, that's their 3rd offensive penalty already.
False start. Offense. Number 53. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
That's why you're looking at a team that's struggling mightily. Those types of mistakes, you have a 3rd and inches, you have a great chance to extend the drive. You can't blame it on crowd noise. I mean, the weather has kept people away here in Tampa. That's just a mental error that'll drive Bob Diaco nuts.
And what a big penalty. It was 3rd and a half a yard maybe. And now it's 3rd and 6, and he might in these conditions be forced to put the ball in the air. Play clock all the way down to 2. They do get the play off. A handoff and nowhere to go. My goodness. DiLorenzo just swarmed Eric Lee, the defensive end, led the charge, and UConn's going to have to punt the ball away.
And this offensive line not only struggle in the pass game, but you saw number 91, Eric Lee, just came unblocked. Scot-free. The running back had nowhere to go.
Justin Wayne is the punter for UConn. South Florida with 2 return men. I think that is Hassan Childs who calls the fair catch. And we will take a timeout here in Tampa on a soggy night in South Florida. The college football playoff week 4 this football season.
ESPN is your home of the new college football playoff. ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Jimmy John's Freaky Fast Delivery and in part by the 2014 Scion FRS. It makes everything epic.
Yeah, we like the sound of that. Danny, we're living in a high-tech world.
Pretty cool.
The group from University of South Florida called Touch, an iPad musical group. So we appreciate them letting us sit in on one of their jam sessions.
That was impressive.
A little different way to do it. Mike White, the quarterback, South Florida, with a 7-0 lead, and Marlon Mack, who's going to carry the ball a lot in this game. Around the right side, knocked out of bounds. It'll be 2nd down. Let's check in along the sideline with Allison Williams.
Dave, the field conditions are as good as can be expected when you consider the fact that it has been raining almost all afternoon and into the evening. This is an NFL stadium. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers also play here, so the drainage system is top-notch. They get this kind of weather often. One thing to keep in mind, though, they did resod the center field logo and the end zones. They think it'll be okay and play well because it's a thick cut, but we'll see how this field holds up as the game goes on.
All right, thanks, Allison. We'll watch those spots. 2nd and 6 here for the Bulls. Marlon Mack has carried the ball on every play from scrimmage so far for South Florida, and that keeps up right here. Not much running room that time, maybe got a couple yards. And Marlon Mack is one of our impact players when the Bulls have the ball.
You've seen the impact he's had on this game so far with the rushing touchdown. And then for UConn, Byron Jones, the 5th-year senior at cornerback. That was somebody Bob Diaco singled out, said he's one of the guys on defense that has been really impressive so far this season. And when you've got a corner like that, I would take the same approach if you're UConn as you would if you're South Florida. If you're playing defense, get aggressive, go attack, force them to beat you through the air in these muddy conditions.
We haven't had a pass attempt yet in this game on either side, and we're halfway through the first quarter. And we're going to get number 1, White, trying to throw on the move, and a nice delivery there, caught for a 1st down. Kennard Swanson, the fullback, who can be a real weapon. South Florida loves this kid.
Yeah, we talked to offensive coordinator Paul Wolf, and he talked to us about Kennard Swanson, who made that catch right there, and said the tight ends and fullbacks for that H-back position are huge for our offense, and they've struggled to get those guys going. They definitely want to involve them more offensively tonight.
Dearness Johnson is the tailback here on 1st and 10. And that fullback shuffles in the backfield. Johnson's going to get the carry straight ahead. Nice low running outside the 35 to the 37-yard line. ESPN brings you college football primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels. Dak Prescott and the Mississippi State Bulldogs going into Tiger Stadium in the SEC to take on Les Miles and LSU. We'll tell you a little bit more about that one in a moment, but
Can't wait to watch that game. That's going to be an outstanding matchup.
I mean, some of our colleagues thinking Mississippi State has a real chance to not just keep it close, but go into LSU and get a win. And that would be something. Marlon Mack back in the game, and Mack got a first down and more. Almost broke free outside the 45 to the 46. 9 more yards for the true freshman.
Well, you're seeing a steady dose of Marlon Mack tonight from South Florida, and I expect a lot more of the same throughout. They've got some depth issues with their best wide receiver out. They really feel like the offensive line is one of the strengths of this unit. They got back their left guard, Thor Joswiak, and so why not? Why not Raymond? You're playing in these conditions. Keep it on the ground.
South Florida's passing offense, I think it would be fair to say, has not been good in the first 3 weeks of the year. Play fake, and White looking to pass. He's got a man open and caught inside UConn territory all the way down to the 30-yard line. Rodney Adams with the catch, the sophomore from here in St. Pete, and South Florida wants to go up tempo.
The other thing, when you get that run game going, the play action pass can be so effective. You talk about some playmakers on this team, some young guys. It's Rodney Adams, just a sophomore. Mike White, the quarterback, told us he really likes him because he gets a lot of yaks. That one he didn't, but he made the big play, got the big chunk yardage.
24-yard pass play for the Bulls, who are moving the ball. Already leading 7-0. Mack, the tailback, give it to Marlon Mack. Trying to break that initial hit, and he could not do it. Good play by Marquise Vann, who maybe has been the best defensive player, at least in that linebacking core for UConn.
Yep, he's a captain on that defense and a player that they look to for leadership, and somebody's going to be very active tonight and stopping the run game.
The junior from Cincinnati, he is a captain, leading tackler on the team. That wet football on a very soggy night in Tampa. The rain has slowed up a little bit. I think the conditions are better than they were just a few minutes before kickoff. Little pitch play to Mack, right side, picking his way forward, but really nowhere to go.
The conditions are better, meaning the rain's not actively coming down, but we were here all day. It rained all afternoon long. The field is just going to be muddy. You're going to be dealing with wet footballs throughout the night. They're trying to keep them dry. Each team has probably about 15 balls that they're going to have ready to go. They try to keep them in a bag there to keep them dry, but as soon as it hits the ground, as soon as that official places it on that grass, it absorbs some of that. You never know as a quarterback what you're going to get when it hits your hands. It's not a good feeling.
Now 3rd and 10 for the Bulls, right near the edge of their field goal range. White, the quarterback, looking to pass. In the pocket, and he throws incomplete. A little wobbly pass intended for Deontay Welch, and we'll see if the Bulls try to kick in the rain.
And this is, well, on one of the kickoffs already, we saw the kicker fall down. And I think that's going to be a big issue as well, that plant foot for a kicker. So the offense staying on the field for South Florida.
And that's interesting. I mean, I think they have one of the better place kickers with a big leg, Marvin Kloss, in the country.
You can see the mud. I mean, it's just a muddy, it's a quagmire. It's just ugly.
And I think that's the reason for this decision. So we'll see what South Florida tries to do here on 4th and 10. Back to pass. Mike White over the top. He's got a man caught and diving for the end zone. Touchdown, Rodney Adams. Did he get in?
Rodney Adams walking the tightrope. I believe he did.
Me too.
Kept his feet in bounds, got the football right over the pylon. That's a couple big catches for Rodney Adams on this drive. And how about the drive and a couple of throws by Mike White under these conditions? Pretty impressive.
South Florida's offense looks like a totally different offense so far in this one. Extra point up and good. Very impressive from the Bulls. That time marching all the way down the field, not just on the ground, through the air. South Florida with the 14-0 lead. College football prime time presented by Hampton Hotels on ESPN. That matchup we were talking about, Mississippi State on the road to take on 8th ranked LSU Saturday 7 Eastern on ESPN. And who knows, could get some wet weather down in the Bayou. It is sopping wet here in Tampa. The band, though, they don't care. Their Bulls are playing well, 14-0 lead. Hey, you're a college kid. It's a Friday night under the lights. Who cares if it's raining?
Right? Get out, have a little fun. Enjoy your team with a 14-0 lead already. Hey, it's better than watching the Bucks. Man, that game was ugly last night.
My goodness. Raymond James Stadium, the home of the Bucks. There's some concern around here about the performance of their NFL team, but the Bulls of South Florida looking good. And a short kickoff. It'll be Newsome again. Across the 20 to the 30, and UConn takes over for the third time. Well, Dave Fleming, Danny Cannell here in Tampa. Show me something. Every week you're looking for a couple of guys on Saturday across college football to prove something to you.
Yeah, it could be a team, a unit, a player. So this week, one of the biggest games of the week, it's Alabama versus Florida. The Florida Gators are going into Tuscaloosa. Blake Sims has done a great job of showing me something all year long, but he hasn't done it against the best competition yet. He's going to face the toughest defense he's faced so far in the Florida Gators. And he's taken, to his credit, he has taken that quarterback job and ran with it. I want to see if he can do it against the Florida Gators.
Chandler Whitmer hands off. Arkel Newsome, good running for the freshman to the 40-yard line, a gain of 8. So you pick every week a couple of show me somethings, guys, you're looking forward to, and we use that hashtag. We want you to interact with us as well during our telecast. Send us something that you're looking for. Show me something from your perspective, and who knows, maybe we'll talk about it on the air as we go along.
Yeah. And when you look at Alabama with their offense, they have so many weapons. When you look at Amari Cooper, maybe the best wide receiver in the country, O.J. Howard, exceptional tight end. The backfield is incredible. This offense should be prolific.
Whitmer just trying to fling the ball away, and
can't say the same about UConn's offense so far.
The problems along the offensive line are extreme. It'll be 3rd and 2 coming up, and now a late penalty flag, and that's going to be grounding.
Intentional grounding. Offense, number 10. Loss of down. Go down.
Well, he was not outside the tackle box. I think that was clear. There was nobody over there, so intentional grounding.
Now Chandler Whitmer's running for his life, but he's got to know if he's just going to heave it somewhere, he's got to be outside the tackle box. But I mean, I feel bad for Chandler Whitmer and whoever's playing quarterback for UConn, because the pass protection has just been so horrific. I mean, it just has not been there for UConn. That's got to be priority number 1, but it's sure proven to be a challenge.
This is the first quarter of week 4. They've given up 16 sacks. That was a 13-yard loss and a pass incomplete. 2 more penalty flags are down, intended for Jeremy Davis, but knocked away by Devin Abraham. Let's see what the penalties are.
Personal foul, shot block, offense, number 63 and number 44. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
So 4th down, UConn will punt the ball away.
Here's the defensive player. Watch what happens to him as the guard in the back. He's coming through the hole. The back goes down to cut him, and the guard takes him up top. And that's a rule implemented to try to protect players. You don't want to see guys going at the knees, and that's how guys get hurt. And that's how you find the bench as well.
Another punt for UConn. 3 offensive line penalties already, and that one declined. The strip sack for the turnover. Nice booming punt, and it'll be Dunkley who takes it. And Dunkley's got room to return. 35, cutting it back 40, still on his feet to midfield. There is a flag down. Dunkley staggering inside the 30 and finally tackled near the 25-yard line, but we'll see.
Dunkley was doing his best Devin Hester impression right there, calling out blocks. Or Deion Sanders, if you're old school.
I think either one applies.
Yeah.
Now Dunkley, who had a big punt return for a touchdown, called back because of penalty last week.
During the kick, holding Receiving team, number 36, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So that's a big penalty against the Bulls and Nate Godwin on special teams. South Florida does get the ball back here, though. And we get a chance to remind you, college football on ABC continues Saturday. Top-ranked Florida State, the Seminoles, at home up the road in Tallahassee, hosting number 22 Clemson. ACC showdown. It's a big one. Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo at 8 on ABC. And the question, with no Jameis Winston in the first half, how much damage can Vic Beasley do?
He's going to have a huge challenge going against Cameron Irvin, the left tackle for Florida State. It's going to be a huge matchup. One's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Vic Beasley's been talking big game, too, saying he thinks he's better than Jadeveon Clowney, and he'll have an opportunity to do it against one of the best teams in the country on the road.
How about the special teams penalty? That costs USF 58 yards of field position. They start just outside their own 10. And the handoff, Marlon Mack. Good run defense this time for the Huskies. There's Nate Godwin, who is a good young defensive player. We had a chance to chat with him yesterday, but he committed that penalty in special teams that has cost South Florida on a wet night in Tampa. Already 10 carries here in the first quarter for the true freshman Marlon Mack. He's back there again. Swanson, the fullback, shuffles over, and Mack gets the ball. Might have been a little miscommunication, though. And while we have a moment, let's send it back down to Allison Williams.
Well, you guys were talking about that Clemson-Florida State game. I had a chance to chat with Heather Cox today, and she said that Sean McGuire actually has his timing down pretty good with his receivers because he took so many snaps with the first team in spring ball when Jameis Winston was playing baseball. Also, Winston obviously knows that he hurt his team with his actions, but he's doing everything he can to make up for it. As soon as he heard of his suspension, he texted McGuire. They got together and watched film until 10 o'clock at night on Wednesday.
On a big story in Tallahassee this week, that's for sure. And another one involving Jameis Winston. On third down, Mike White is going to dump it off short to Mack, who makes the catch, diving forward, and he got pretty close. Looked like he was going to be well short of the first down. He's got to get to that, and he got it. They spot him at the 22-yard line. That's a first down. Great effort.
Allison just talking about Sean McGuire, the quarterback for Florida State, coming in. And I'm sure he looked great in the summer, in the spring, but it's a whole other ball game when you're playing in front of 85,000 screaming fans and they're going nuts for you. So it's going to be a pressure-packed situation, and I'm sure Jimbo Fisher will try to get his confidence early with some easy throws, get the run game going, but it's a situation where everybody has to step up their game to start to help out. Just a guy making his first ever collegiate start.
It looks like we'll get one final snap here in the first quarter. We'll see. On 1st and 10. McFarland, the tight end, went in motion. Now whistles blow, and before the play, a timeout.
First charge, timeout, UCF.
Well, we'll take a timeout ourselves. One play to go in quarter number one. 14-0 South Florida. Well, we're just going to keep it right here.
Yeah. How about the crowd? They did not appreciate the official calling a timeout for UCF.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed that.
Just down the road.
One of the rivals of South Florida, USF, in these parts. Yeah.
He knows he's getting it from the crowd.
Sorry, Todd. You got to get that one right. They're little mistakes and they're bigger mistakes.
Yep.
So, with 4 seconds to go here in the first quarter, we are keeping it here. We've got one more play before the quarter comes to an end. You have to be impressed, Danny, with Mike White, the sophomore quarterback in this Bulls offense, which has just been inept in the first 3 weeks of the season. Tonight, they look like a whole different team.
Well, when we talked to Paul Wolf, their offensive coordinator, he said we're close. We're right there. We just need to build some confidence. And that's a lot of time when you're talking about some young players. That's all it takes. A couple good drives, a big play here or there, and things start looking a lot better.
So now ready to go. Mack still in there on 1st and 10. He'll get the ball again. Marlon Mack has been the star of this first quarter. He and the Bulls on the move again after 15 minutes in the rain in Tampa. South Florida at home with the 14-0 lead over UConn. Dave Fleming, Danny Cannell, Allison Williams here in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium, and the students in the rain, the band getting wet, watching their Bulls with a 14-0 lead and the ball as the second quarter gets going. So a South Florida team that has struggled in the opening weeks of this season, but playing better here tonight and shifting here on 2nd and short. First play of quarter number 2, and why not just keep it with the true freshman Marlon Mack. A helmet flew off of the tight end McFarland, and Mack was driven backwards. Well, Mack was the star of the first quarter. 41 rushing yards, 10 receiving yards. UConn as a team had 18 yards of offense. Marlon Mack got the ball a lot and was productive. One of the 2 Bulls touchdowns. 3rd and 4 here. Two in the backfield, 2 receivers. Welch came in motion, and White is sort of sprinting right. His throw is on the money. And that's Deontay Welch with the catch for a first down.
Who's the Mack? Marlon Mack tonight. They keep feeding him the rock. He's gotten to the outside, used some speed. He's taken up right in the middle, used some power. As Willie Taggart said, he is smooth as a runner. He's shown ability. That's one thing. It's young running backs. It's really tough for them to do, is to put that shoulder down and to power over some guys. But Marlon Mack has been impressive. 1st and 10. The Bulls give the ball. Not a lot of room to run there for Dearness Johnson. Got a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd and long. Another true freshman. Mack comes back in. One thing South Florida's doing, they had an excellent recruiting class under Coach Taggart. They got a lot of talent in this freshman group, and they are playing a lot of their young kids early in the season. Yeah, this is a South Florida program. I like Willie Taggart as a recruiter. I like him as a coach. I like him as a mentor to these young men on his team.
This guy grew up in the area. He knows this state. Mack cuts it upfield and a spin move across the 40 and stop there.
And when you look at South Florida, I see it like a UCF. UCF is kind of the hot team outside of Florida, Florida State, and Miami. But South Florida, don't forget, 2007, they were ranked number 2 in the country. So they've got the potential. There's enough talent in this state to spread around where you can put together something special. And I think Willie Taggart will be that guy. But it's going to take some time because it has been a mighty fall since that number 2 ranking.
Yeah, it's a program that has struggled these last few years. 2nd year for Coach Taggart, who came from Western Kentucky. 3rd and 5, and a play fake. White will throw it short, caught and reaching, spun out of bounds. Rodney Adams trying to get to that first down mark. And it's just going to depend on the spot. It looks like they spotted him short. And I do believe South Florida will punt the ball away.
Pretty good open field tackle by number 2 Graham Stewart for UConn, running down Rodney Adams from that backside and keeping him from getting that first down.
A good play by Stewart. 4th and 1. Matthias Chabati. He had a big leg, averaging almost 47 yards a punt this season. And another good high booming kick to Sean Fox with the fair catch just inside the 10. Well, Coach Willie Taggart trying to rebuild this South Florida program has to be pleased. His Bulls lead 14-0. South Florida playing well here at home. Early second quarter, they lead UConn 14-0. Yeah, it's a night to take cover. The quarterback Mike White. Offense off the field, under cover. trying to get dry. Ron Johnson, the tailback for UConn. And the offense, just nothing happening for the Huskies so far. Johnson breaks a couple tackles and falls forward near the 15-yard line. Well, never stop improving, brought to you by Lowe's. The South Florida defense, their #1 goal, they told us, Danny, force more turnovers. And they're doing a good job.
They are. They're improving every year. And Chuck Bresnahan said they have a goal of leading the country in that turnover battle. And they're off to a pretty good start.
I would say.
With one tonight, the sack, fumble.
They have forced 11 turnovers already. The handoff on 2nd and 4. Johnson once again tripped up. And a good play by Jamie Bird, the safety, to save the first down. It'll be 3rd and short.
Not only saved the first down, but saved a huge play because Jamie Bird was the last line of defense coming up from the safety position. And it's slippery out there. Sam gets just enough of that shoe to trip up the ball carrier.
That was a good play by Bird. Ron Johnson, the ball carrier from Naples, from this part of the country, and nowhere to go for the Naples kid. 3rd and short, and UConn does not get it. Tayshawn Whitehurst knifed his way through from his linebacker spot, and it's 4th down.
It is so hard to win when your offensive line is struggling the way UConn's is. I mean, the timing looked off. They tried to run the power, couldn't get the guard out in front to lead the way for the bag. And they've got to figure it out. Got to get better play from the big boys up front.
You're right. I mean, the simple stuff not being executed right now. Dunkley and Childs once again. Wayne, the punter. This one a lower kick, fair catch, and almost near midfield. The Bulls going to have great field position. Their defense sets up the offense when we come back to Tampa, South Florida, with the 14-0 lead.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. We'll give you an edge. And the Lexus GX. Dare to be spontaneous.
A very cool look inside the Tabanero Cigar Company, founded all the way back in 1885, located right in the heart of Ybor City, part of Tampa's Latin Quarter. That's one of 2 neighborhoods in the state of Florida designated a National Historic Landmark District. ESPN joining in the celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, September 15th to October 15th. They do it the old-style way.
Let's see if South Florida takes a shot.
On the first play of this drive, and they do take a shot downfield and almost completed. Might have gotten tipped, and it went right through the hands, or right by the hands of Rodney Adams. Good call by you.
They've had great field position. They've been running the ball so effectively, and they've been running a lot on 1st, 2nd down. You figured, hey, why not take a shot? It was a pretty decent throw. I like the attempt to try to at least back up the offense a little bit. Remember Byron Jones, Bob Diaco said he's been playing really well for this defense. That was a great pass breakup from him.
They didn't get a lot of it, but just enough to force the incompletion on this wet night in Tampa. 2nd and 10, and they will hand the ball off to the Mack. Marlon Mack into UConn territory and just pulls his way down to the 45-yard line.
Well, while we're raving about Marlon Mack, we need to give the offensive line some love too, because he's had some pretty gaping holes to run through. Led by some veterans up front, Darrell Williams, Austin Ryder, Quintarius Eatman, some seniors up front.
It's supposed to be a good unit. They have not played well, and tonight they're playing better. And that's supposed to be a big part of this South Florida team. So it's 3rd down, and they did not give him a great spot. It's 3rd and 4 coming up. They will hand the ball off to Mack, picking his way forward, and he did not get there, not close. He got a yard, and now I think Willie Taggart has a decision to make. Jefferson Ashiru, the linebacker, makes the tackle. It's 4th and about 3, and I think if they had gotten even a couple more yards, 4th and 1, they might have gone for it.
It's a long 3, and the way I look at it, if you're Willie Taggart, you got to look at the way this game is unfolded. You're in complete control. UConn is struggling mightily on offense. Punt them back there, put them deep in their territory. I think this is the right decision.
So Chabadi, the punter, Fox, the return man. Kind of a high snap. And an end-over-end punt. Fox is going to let it bounce, and it will bounce inside the 5 and be down right around the 5-yard line. Beautiful execution by the South Florida special teams. That is nicely done. The defense will come back on the field when we come back to Tampa.
ESPN is your home of the new college football playoff.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Jimmy John's. In the rain here in Tampa. 14-0 South Florida. Second quarter, 8:16 to go, and everybody just trying to stay dry. The UConn offense, second time in a row they've started to drive inside the 10. Chandler Whitmer to the tailback DiLorenzo, and that South Florida defense now it's just kind of licking their chops.
Their confidence is growing every time they take the field. They're getting so many stops. They've already forced the turnover, and now you got them backed up, sort of like sharks smelling blood in the water. And they know they're going against an offensive line that has really struggled, and South Florida is dominating the line of scrimmage.
It's just taken away UConn's opportunity to do anything on offense. Whitmer under center. DiLorenzo finds a hole this time, and a little breathing room across the 10. It'll be 3rd down and 3 with some margin for error.
This is a big 3rd down for UConn. See number 85 in the huddle right there, Jeremy Davis. He's an impact player for us. He's 6'3", 216 pounds. I don't like their chances getting it on the ground. I say give it to your go-to receiver. Give him a chance.
Number 85 wide right on 3rd and 3. Whitmer with a flag thrown, and could this be another false start penalty? My goodness.
False start. Offense. Number 49. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Dave, I don't get it. I mean, that's the 3rd time we've seen them, and I don't know if there's a snap difference in the cadence between Casey Cochran, who started the year at quarterback, and Chandler Whitmer, who's playing quarterback now. But they can't even get off the snap at the same time. They're just absolutely killing their chances of getting any type of 1st down. Now they've got issues with the play clock winding down. They're going to have to hustle up.
Yeah, Deshaun Fox came in the game, doesn't even know what the play is. Play clock down to 3, down to 2, a delayed handoff. DiLorenzo, and he's not going to get it. Just swarmed by the Bulls. And that's almost like a concession from the Huskies. They're going to punt the ball back. Those penalties have been huge in this game. South Florida's got a good defense anyway. They don't need that kind of help.
You know, you talked about the concession. They're also thin at quarterback. And that probably has a big reason why they're being conservative with the play calling. You know, when you lose your starter early in the season, talk about a lot of young guys forced into action, but Chandler Whitmer's got to carry the load.
Now the punt, a low line drive punt. It'll be Childs to take it right around midfield. It gets away from the first couple tacklers, but not the 3rd. And we're going to check in for the first time in the studio with Chris Cotter.
Dave, Danny, time for the Dr. Pepper Conference update. Last night, a rough night for K-State kicker Jack Cantelli. Missed all 3 of his field goal attempts. Entering the game, the junior had missed 3 in his entire collegiate career. He was on the preseason Groza watch list, but a rough night for him and a rough night for the Wildcats. Auburn survived in Manhattan 20-14. Back out to you guys, Dave. Danny?
All right, thanks, Chris. And it's true that Kansas State, both teams missed all kinds of opportunity. It was a sloppy game.
It was. I mean, Bill Snyder had Kansas State ready for that matchup with the Auburn Tigers, and boy, 3 missed field goals, a drop touchdown pass that turned into a turnover. Kansas State really should have won that game.
Mack gets the handoff, and this time UConn pursuing the ball. A loss of 5 or 6 yards on the play. Okay, good timing for who's in. Danny and I make our pick. We both still have Auburn in there, and I think the Tigers do deserve credit. You go on the road, you beat a good team, you get credit for it.
All right, here's my update right there.
Okay, gone?
Yeah, after last night, I'm in with you on Texas A&M.
All right.
But Auburn was not exactly impressive last night.
Hey, to me, Texas A&M, you watch what South Carolina did to Georgia. It makes Texas A&M's Week 1 win at South Carolina just in dominating fashion. Makes it look even better. White scrambling and incomplete. Trying to find the tight end, Sean Price, and White a little shaken up.
He's got a splint on that left hand, which he banged up against Maryland. Underneath there, he's wearing a little brace on his wrist area. And he took a pretty good lick right at the end there.
Yeah, he got smushed. Rib cage got crunched. Cole Ormsby, who's a good young player for UConn, along the front. It's third down and long here. White delayed handoff. And some room cutting it upfield into UConn territory. Dearness Johnson, not enough for the first down, about 6 yards short. And what has turned into a punting contest is going to continue.
I mean, they're virtually the same exact spot in the field. It's a longer fourth down attempt than it was the previous fourth down. And I think, again, they're making the wise decision. Play that field position. You got a 2-touchdown lead in these nasty conditions.
Yeah, I think you said it well last time. No reason to take a chance. Another end-over-end punt. This one a little shorter. Fox fair catch right at the 12. That's where UConn will have the ball when we come back. The Huskies need to get the offensive line worked out. They need to get the offense going. They're down 2 touchdowns. .430 to go until halftime here in wet Tampa at Raymond James Stadium. The Bulls of South Florida dancing around here. They lead 14-0 over the Huskies of UConn, having a terrible time getting the offense going. Chandler Whitmer under center. Josh Mariner, the tailback. They're going to give it to Mariner with no room to run at all. He lost a yard on that play, maybe 2.
And that's the other thing. That's when you're struggling offensively, you need to try your best to get a positive play on first and second down, so you give yourself at least some sort of a chance if you get to third down. But they just cannot get anything going.
And you mentioned the fact that Casey Cochran, their starter at the beginning of the year, has retired from football, their quarterback. Chandler Whitmer, an experienced backup. They have no backup tonight. Chandler Whitmer is it. Tim Boyle, who's their normal backup, is not available to play. They didn't travel anybody else. Handoff up the middle and a little burst across the 15 out to the 16.
Whoa. Somebody came flying over the pile there.
Now there is Casey Cochran. So UConn, they have to protect their quarterback tonight, Chandler Whitmer, because Cochran, he's with the team. He's no longer playing for the team, and they don't have anybody else. If Whitmer had to leave the game, they're not exactly sure what they do.
I still think you've got to do something through the air. You know, some quick game, take a shot to Jeremy Davis, give him a jump ball, something on the outside, because they're too one-dimensional now.
And they have not completed a pass, not one, in this game. We're almost at halftime. And they're not even going to throw it here. A handoff for a gain of a yard. My goodness. Eric Lee with the tackle. They're not even asking Chandler Whitmer to throw the ball. They have
passing attempts.
They've attempted 2 and they haven't completed one.
I mean, it's turning into a 9-on-7 drill. And that's the inside drill every team does at practice, where you don't throw the football.
Well, maybe that first play, it wasn't exactly the very first play, but first series where the sack, the strip, the fumble recovery led to the first touchdown. Another low line drive kick from Justin Wayne. And Childs hit almost immediately. Good special teams coverage. South Florida gets the ball back. ESPN brings you college football primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels. A matchup we've been talking about. Mississippi State trying to win at LSU for the first time since 1991. Saturday, 7 Eastern tomorrow on ESPN. And Danny, give me a key matchup in that game you're looking towards.
And Mississippi State revolves heavily around their quarterback, Dak Prescott. He's been exceptional at that position, and a big reason why Mississippi State is in the mix and people are jumping on their bandwagon. Their defense is really solid as well.
I think they do have an advantage at the quarterback position in that game.
Oh, for sure.
I just don't know how many other advantages they have against a very young but talented LSU team. Handoff, straight ahead running. A little more on that matchup Danny's talking about.
Well, we talked about Dak Prescott. He can make some plays in the air. He's got a nice vertical passing game, some weapons to work with. He's a great leader for that team. And then He's just a big physical body. And then Jamario Rasco, you can see him making some plays on the defensive side of the ball. He's going to try to contain Dak Prescott, because Dak Prescott's one of those guys who can take over a game physically with his ground presence, what he can do on the ground. But I want to see Mississippi State do it before I buy in. They haven't won in Baton Rouge since 1991.
I mean, under the lights, I don't know. White downfield, and the pass is incomplete.
Oh.
Deontay Welch had it and lost it before he came down.
That was a beautiful ball from Mike White. There's a couple passes tonight that he has thrown that have just been just over the defender's hands. That's perfect touch. And if you're Deontay Welch, you got to somehow make that play for your quarterback. I might be biased towards the QBs, but I think that's a catch he could make.
You're allowed to be biased on that one. He's got to make that catch. Well, Mike White, this guy came into this game just a sophomore, not much playing experience, completing 32% of his passes on the year. 32%. Almost hard to believe. He's thrown the ball well. A delayed handoff on 3rd and long, and breaking through, spinning around for the first down. Darius Tice, the sophomore from Miami, a gain of 10.
Man, how about these young running backs? Marlon Mack, Darius Tice, Dearness Johnson. They keep them coming at you. They got some depth. This is a 3rd and long. Same exact play they called the previous 3rd and long. This time they get it with the second effort from Tice.
And I think there was another good block in there. Kennard Swanson, the redshirt freshman fullback, has done an excellent job in this game. He's the lead blocker here. And a handoff on 1st down. Not much gain for Tice again. A whistle and a timeout. South Florida with 1:03 to go until halftime. They stop the clock. We'll come back to Tampa right after this.
Chris Cotter back in Bristol. Coming up with a half. Coach Holtz, Mark May will join me. We'll talk about Jameis Winston being out the first half against the Clemson coming up on Saturday. How will that change the way the Clemson Tigers prepare for the game? We'll give you the Saturday slate, including what promises to be an offensive onslaught out in the Palouse. And Phil Steele will give us his picks. It's coming up with a half. Till then, back to Dave and Danny in Tampa.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. The Ducks on the road in the Palouse against Washington State. Their former head coach, Paul Wolf, is now the offensive coordinator for South Florida. His offense has played pretty well in this first half. It's 2nd and 9, 1:03 to go until halftime. White looking to throw downfield. He dumps it off short, complete. It's Tice who goes straight forward to get the first down, and that will stop the clock for the moment with 56 seconds to go.
South Florida picking up the pace, running this 2-minute drill, trying to get a score before halftime.
There's the old Cougars head coach, Paul Wolf. Clock rolling, and the USF, they got to hurry here.
Yep.
Got to play with some urgency. On 1st down, White scrambling, and another dump off. Tice again, hit hard, and I'm not sure he knew what direction he was pointed. And the man who made the hit is down and hurting. My goodness. I think that's Junior Joseph.
That was a violent collision.
So that will stop the clock. 26 seconds to go. A gain of about 5 yards on that pass play. And we'll hope that Junior Joseph is okay. Big collision, and both players, Joseph the tackler, Tice, I mean, he got knocked.
Yeah.
He was pointed in the wrong way.
And Junior Joseph had him sized up. I mean, he had a good 10-yard run right at him to get full speed. I mean, that was.
It looks like that right side, whether it's a shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, that's good news from all the, some of the injuries we've seen as of late. That.
Yeah, not a head injury, not a neck injury, which you worry about on that type of collision.
Yep.
So 26 seconds to go. The rain now is falling hard again. You can see it. For maybe a half a quarter or so, it had lightened up a good bit. Now we got the downpour again. The Bulls trying to add some points to their lead here. It's
Rodney Adams at the bottom. That's been his favorite receiver for big plays in this game so far.
Looking toward Adams, and he'll be sacked. And we'll see if they call timeout. They do. That's a young quarterback. He's got to get rid of the ball, doesn't he?
I don't know if he had a chance, though. That was pretty pressured, pretty fast.
So a quick timeout. We'll be right back after this. There's a storm on the high seas tonight. We're at Raymond James Stadium. 14-0 South Florida after a sack and a timeout. Only 19 seconds to go until halftime. And you figure in these conditions maybe out of field goal range. With the downpour falling on 3rd and 12. No timeouts left either. White sprinting left, and he throws. And the pass is tipped up and intercepted. And taken the other way by the Huskies. Byron Jones to the end zone. Touchdown. Wow. And what a game changer with just seconds to go until halftime. And that one's not on the quarterback. 70-yard return for a touchdown. And Willie Taggart looks stunned.
This whole home crowd is stunned right now. Rodney Adams, we just talked about what a great night he was having catching the ball. That hit one right in the breadbasket. Pops up perfectly to Byron Jones. And just like that, UConn's back in the mix.
Amazing turn of events. What a great play. Tremendous concentration by the senior, and then to take it all the way. Yeah, I think the hashtag SC Top 10, that was a stunning play.
It's definitely in UConn's hashtag Top 10 for sure this season. They haven't had many bright spots.
Yeah, that might be their biggest play of the year.
Official timeout. The previous play is under further review.
So they're gonna take a look at this upstairs. I didn't see anything,
No.
Danny. I think he caught it cleanly, and I think stayed in bounds. I don't think there's much question about this one.
Nope.
Let's see right here. Does he stay in?
Oh, that left foot.
Well,
Possibly.
unless we have a different look, I don't know if you could tell from that.
I don't know. You might have to call Sports Center and take it off the top 10 if he hit that foot out. But I don't know. They definitely didn't see enough there. But man, that left foot. And that was way back. That was around the 35-yard line. So you get a view here. It's that step right there. That left foot.
Well, and again, even that look, it's close for sure. But did we see any indisputable evidence? I mean, Mike White just out and out tried to trip him.
Yeah, that's all he
you're
had
not
to do.
supposed to do that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only good look down the line. A good look, a relative term there.
UConn's going to catch a break because there's no angle that shows it a clear view. I think he might have, but we don't know for sure.
I agree with you. I don't think you can overturn that based on that look. Now, that's like a slide tackle attempt.
Right.
And, I mean,
it could be one of those ones where the front part of your foot is on the ground and your heel is over and out. But either way, neither of those views are going to overturn that.
I just can't imagine this crew would overturn that call. That's as good a look as we have.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
And that's the language we would expect. Stands. There's nothing to overturn it. What a turn here in Tampa. And that's the guy that Bob Diaco has singled out. He's been the best player on defense for UConn. Byron Jones, what a huge play. Robbie Puyol, the place kicker. These are no gimmies in these conditions. I mean, it's pouring now.
Thought we were in the clear. We had a little lull in the rain, and it's just cranked back up.
Kick up, and it is good. Well, the Huskies have something to feel good about. Almost nothing in the first 30 minutes of this game, but with 5 seconds to go until halftime, Bob Diaco and UConn, they could be pumped about a huge play and a mistake by the Bulls offense.
And they've just hung around. I mean, both teams kind of got, they both got conservative in that second quarter. South Florida sitting, getting comfortable with that 14-point lead. UConn saying, hey, we're not going to try to throw it, with only 2 pass attempts on the night. And then just like that, I mean, South Florida's dominated this game. I mean, the numbers-wise, defensively.
UConn, Danny, has 41 total yards of offense. They have 1 first down. 1 first down, and they still have not completed a pass. So they have 1 first down as an offense. They have not completed a pass. They've committed 5 penalties. They have almost as many penalty yards as yards of offense, and it's a 1-score game. Their first down came on their first play from scrimmage. Since then, they have not had a single first down. Squib kick here in the rain, and South Florida will just fall on the ball. With 3 seconds to go, you have to think this is a kneel down. Now, the young quarterback Mike White has shown a lot of impressive things.
He was playing really well in the first half. That interception clearly not his fault.
The downpour is just furious now. If it stays like this, the weather in the second half is going to be, again, a major factor like it was in the first minutes of this game.
That field's getting torn up worse by the minute. I don't think it's going to get any better.
Well, they're not showing the kneel down position here. We'll see. They're just going to hand the ball off, and that is the way the first half comes to an end.
That's the fall down, not the kneel down.
I see. It was all by design.
Yeah.
Bob Diaco's got to be thrilled after everything that went on, and not a lot good for his Huskies. A senior leader, Byron Jones, with a tremendous play. Interception on the tip ball, returned 70 yards for a touchdown. Let's send it down to Allison Williams.
Coach Taggart, how does the interception and touchdown by UConn change the dynamic and feel of this game going into the half?
Well, it gave them a little momentum going into the half, gave them some light and energy and some enthusiasm to come back out here and try to give it their all, and we got to match that enthusiasm. We can't get down like we had in the past. We got to accept adversity, look in the face, and keep going.
Conditions obviously are tough here with the weather. Take me through the thought process there, the decision to be comfortable throwing the ball in that situation.
Well, we just try to throw something toward the sideline and try to get in the field goal range and get some points right before the half, and so you just drop. Well, got to catch the football.
All right, Coach Taggart, thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right, thanks, Allison. So Willie Taggart and company going to dry off for a moment in the locker room, but Byron Jones off the tip ball, 70 yards back for a touchdown. Halftime score, South Florida 14, UConn 7. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Jimmy John's. You're watching The American on ESPN, and on this particular Friday night, it is wet. The rain did not slow down during halftime. In fact, maybe has gotten even harder. Just soaked here in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium. And that guy, number 16, Byron Jones for UConn, just totally changed the feel of this game seconds before halftime with a 70-yard interception return for a touchdown. UConn does have to kick the ball back to South Florida to start the third quarter. A first half that did not feature a completed pass by the Huskies, and yet they're only down by 7. That kickoff right toward the end zone line, and Dunkley across the 10, tripped up and falls ahead to about the 20. Well, back here in Tampa, Dave Fleming, Danny Cannell, and Danny, really hard to remember a game so dominated by one side where one play right at the end of the half totally changes the feel of things.
Yeah, I mean, Bob Diaco, it's pretty clear to me, he came in here with a game plan of, hey, let's just keep it close. We're not going to do much offensively. They don't have one pass completion on the night so far. And if you take away that turnover on the first drive, it's maybe a 7-7 game. So it's played right into their hand. They're struggling on the offensive line mightily. But now if you're South Florida, you've got to shift the momentum back into your favor. Willie Taggart talked about it at halftime with Allison right before he went in. He has got to go take it back.
I mean, they were the more effective offensive team, that's for sure. After the first down run, let's welcome back in Allison Williams.
Well, guys, UConn's previous 3 games before tonight all started with a turnover. Tonight was no different, but head coach Bob Diaco liked the way his team continued to play hard. They didn't lose heart, especially on defense, and then they were able to get the ball to bounce their way at the end of the half, which he said was absolutely huge. As for a lack of a passing game, just 0 for 2 in that first half, as he pointed out, as if it needs to be pointed out, it's a monsoon out here, so with the weather, just not looking to throw the ball a whole lot.
Well, we'll see if they can continue with that philosophy, if they can't come back and at least tie this game. Pass here on second down, and White connects short of the first down. It's the tight end Mike McFarland for a gain to set up 3rd and short. South Florida, they like their tight ends, and they've been willing to throw the ball.
They have. Mike White, we talked to him. I mean, everybody, the forecast was correct for once. They actually got it right, so both teams knew what to expect. And Mike White said, hey, we get to practice a lot in this type of weather. They had some of it through training camp, 2-a-days, so they were expecting it.
Well, this is as bad as it's been all night. The conditions got better for a while, and now they continue to get worse. It's a downpour. 4-9 3rd down. It's not bad for a Bulls team that has struggled so much early in the year. This is 3rd and very short. They're going to give it to their true freshman running back, Marlon Mack, who was a star in the first half, and he squirts right through for the first down and much more.
He was a star in the first quarter, and then they started mixing it up a little bit, but I think they'll start to give him the ball more here. He was really had kind of taken over the game in the first quarter, and I'd expect you to see him get the ball a few more times as they try to establish that line of scrimmage again.
Yeah, you're right. Even as they mixed and matched at the end of the half, he still has 19 carries already in this game. And he's in there alongside Mike White, the sophomore quarterback, in the shotgun. On first down, they'll give it to Mack, trying to get to the edge left side. And he got to that corner. Not much room there, though. A gain of 3. Jefferson Ashiru with the tackle. Marlon Mack, 55 yards and a touchdown, but just under 3 yards a carry. Came in averaging almost 7 yards a rush for the season. I think all told, UConn has to be fairly pleased with the way they've defended the run.
They got to be pleased. They're only down 7. I mean, they got to be thrilled with this situation.
Amazing.
And it gets uglier.
Yeah, who knows what could happen. Delayed handoff. Dearness Johnson with a big hole. He's got the first down and near midfield. 11-yard gain for a 1st and 10.
Dearness Johnson giving Marlon Mack a spell. Finds a nice little cutback lane. And again, we talked about the importance of getting the momentum back for South Florida. And this is a critical drive for them to do that.
Look at those first down numbers. UConn has 1 first down. It came on the first play from scrimmage in this game. South Florida has found ways to move the ball. Johnson gets another carry into UConn territory. And sort of the second true freshman. He hasn't been the star early in the year, but he's showing some nice burst. That's a 9-yard run, and Johnson comes out of the game. Second down and a yard for South Florida. Mack back in. Nobody's staying dry tonight. Not the players, not the coaches, not the band. From the pistol, Mack gets it, and he gets on through. First down inside the 40, down to the 37-yard line. Another 6 yards for Mack.
Now South Florida starting to gas UConn defensively, much like they did in that first quarter. And as the game, but we highlighted all the footballs they're going to rotate into this game, but the longer it comes down, they all get wet, they all get heavy. That's the other thing. They all start to weigh down with the water weight.
Well, they're trying to use those garbage bags to keep the footballs dry. On a night like tonight, it's only so effective. Mack dragged to the ground. Another tackle for Ashiru. And a penalty flag thrown on that play.
Holding. Offense. Number 70. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Quintarius Eatman with the holding penalty. Well, you're talking about how the ball feels, how hard it can be to control the football. I think you consider that these two teams have both done a pretty good job at minimum protecting the ball.
They have. I mean, it's a point of emphasis for both coaches to tell them to wrap it up. But still, I mean, you haven't even the fumbled snaps. You haven't seen any exchanges with the center quarterback go wrong.
1st and 20 here. Mike White. Another one of those delayed handoffs. This time UConn saw it coming. And the running back Johnson did not get back to the line of scrimmage. Kenton Adeyemi with the tackle. He's taken the place of Angelo Pruitt. Angelo Pruitt was maybe the leader up front on the UConn defense. And just like their starting quarterback, Cochran, Angelo Pruitt has had to retire from football. That's two big players on each side of the ball for UConn that are never going to play again. South Florida once again in UConn territory. They've run 17 plays on this side of the field. UConn on offense has not run a single play in South Florida territory. A little blitz picked up, and the throw is incomplete high, intended for the fullback Swanson.
That ball clearly slipped out of Mike White's hands. I mean, it's just so nasty out there. You try to go with the play action. It's not even play action, just a straight drop back. And that ball just squirted right out of there, had no chance. And it's really a crapshoot when you get the football in the shotgun, and I've been there, you get it, and you're like, man, maybe I get a good ball where I get a good grip. But most of the time on a night like this, it's probably going to be slipping out of your hand.
Now, if it were you, would you be wearing a glove on your throwing hand?
I would, especially now with the gloves that they have out now available.
A little swing pass on 3rd and long, and picking his way forward, Rodney Adams inside the 40, gets back right near the original line of scrimmage. It'll still be 4th and long. And I think Willie Taggart's going to be content to punt the ball away.
I mean, this is turning into a field position game. You talked about the gloves. I mean, look around the NFL, guys. I mean, look at Peyton Manning. He wears a glove when it's not even raining out now. Teddy Bridgewater, his glove issues were chronicled well in the offseason at his pro day when he tried to throw without him. They can really help you become a better thrower. Some guys love him. They fall in love with him.
Chabadi trying to pin UConn deep. Fox with the fair catch inside the 10. Not good field position for the UConn offense when we come back to Tampa. In a downpour, South Florida with the 14-7 lead. The rain continues to fall at Raymond James Stadium. 14-7. South Florida has the lead over UConn. The Huskies get the ball back here. But let's go back to that last sequence you were talking about. Glove, no glove.
Yeah, you can see Mike White in the shotgun gets it. And how about that? No laces. Just trying to grab it and get rid of it as quick as you can. Some guys will try that. You get desperate. You'll try anything just to try to get a good grip on the ball. It's just one of those nights.
Yeah, kind of playing backyard football here tonight. Now the Huskies again starting with terrible field position. DiLorenzo with the carry for a short gain, setting up 2nd down. College football on ABC continues Saturday. Number 1 Florida State at home, and for a half without their leader Jameis Winston. 8 Eastern on ABC. Florida State hosting Clemson in the ACC, presented by Wells Fargo. Well, Florida State, Danny, it has not been so easy this year on the offensive side of the ball, even with Jameis Winston in there.
No, they've been dropping a lot of people's top 4. A lot of analysts around the ESPN, myself included, wanting to see more out of Florida State to show they're dominant like they were last year.
Markel Newsome, nice run, and outside the 25, almost to the 30. Well, this Friday night, how about a Friday focusing on the Clemson Tigers earlier today on the road, landed in Tallahassee, getting the locker room ready. Tom Rinaldi, our colleague with Dabo Sweeney, the head coach of Clemson.
It's become a nice little rivalry. It's a great rivalry in the ACC Atlantic.
Yep.
Those two teams going at it, starting to talk a little smack back and forth.
I mean, on paper, you would say that's one of Florida State's toughest remaining tests. Newsome another carry, and the true freshman. He's got a nice burst. Out to the 35, another 6 yards for Arkel Newsome.
Tell you what, Boston College looks like it's going to be a tougher test after what they did against Southern Cal last week.
They're one of the few teams that last year actually matched up pretty well with the Seminoles.
Matched up. They had them 17-3 in the second quarter. Had them on the ropes.
A second and a long 3 here for UConn, actually moving the ball. And before the play, that is another false start. It's just hard to believe.
False start. Offense, number 80. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
I tell you, I give Bob Diaco a lot of credit. He might be one of those positive guys you'll meet. And we covered him against BYU. The game was getting out of hand, and yet he still kept a very positive mindset on that sideline. Tonight, going in at halftime, he was still very enthusiastic, pumping up his team, trying to create some momentum, saying, hey, we're still in this game. And he's doing one of the toughest things to do, I believe, is that's turning the culture around. It's really a tough task.
He was upset at his player. He was also upset at the official there. Newsome gets popped right around the 30 on second and long. No gain. And there's Nigel Harris. We have not said his name very often, Danny, but he's been a big playmaker for the Bulls.
Yeah, Chuck Bresnahan, his defensive coordinator, said he attacks the game. And, man, he came up and attacked the ball carrier on that one.
So it was second down and very manageable along 3. The penalty and then the short gain means 3rd and 9. And these are the kind of spots.
Well, they've been there. They should be passing downs, but UConn has not even attempted to in these situations. Sooner or later, I feel like they've got to at least attempt it.
Well, they have not completed a pass. Will this be number 1? Yeah, there's a completion, and DiLorenzo breaks a tackle. Diving forward, he came close. He had to get to the 39, but they have spotted him back. That's not a very good spot, not a very generous spot. And he's short of the first down.
Conservative play selection, as you would expect in this type of weather. Just getting a screen passed off to DiLorenzo. Broke one tackle. Almost snuck by another to get the first down, but they're going to come up short, and UConn's going to go ahead and punt it away and continue to play the field position game.
And I think it was a good spot, an accurate one, but short of the first down. That is their first pass completion of the game. And look at the clock. I mean, we're motoring right on through this third quarter. It took a long time. So Justin Wayne, the punter, and before the snap,
delay game. Offense, number 42. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Well, Bob Diaco wondering how that could happen. So some penalties you sort of understand, some are just unforced errors, and UConn's had too many of those tonight. In a field position kind of game, those 5 yards, those are important. Now a penalty flag, a fair catch signal, and taking it around the 23-yard line. And let's see, that could be on the Bulls.
They tried to jump over the blocker.
Yeah.
Personal foul. Receiving team, number 51. Leaping over the punch shield. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Wow, what a big penalty that is.
When we talked about UConn and their foolish penalties and stupid mistakes, how about this one? I mean, every player in the game knows it. That's Tayshawn Whitehurst trying to jump over that wall of protection, and that's for his own good. It's to protect him, and it's just a mental lapse for the Bulls. And I tell you what, as much as they've dominated this game statistically, they are just letting UConn hang around, and that's playing right into UConn's hand. That's all they want to do, is have a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Tayshawn Whitehurst Jr. from Gainesville, he's got to know better. I mean, you're right. The rule is clear. Every player knows it. You cannot do that. And that's a 15-yard penalty and the first down for UConn. They keep the ball. Hand off. This time it's the freshman Ron Johnson with nowhere to go. Nate Godwin, the sophomore safety, local kid from here in Tampa. Nice play.
I would even be a fan if UConn did call some more screen game. I mean, they obviously don't feel comfortable throwing the ball down the field. Even a bubble screen or a screen like they threw to the running back the time before. Shovel pass. I mean, anything, just something.
I'm with you. How about the screen game just to get Jeremy Davis involved somehow, number 85. He's a big-time player. Hand off Johnson, and again, the South Florida defense right there. It'll be 3rd and long for the Huskies. Well, coming up, the second race of the Challenger round. It is the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Jimmy Johnson trying to become a 6-time champion. The Sylvania 300 at New Hampshire, Sunday at 1 on ESPN. Not the spot UConn wants to be in. In the rain, on the road, 3rd and 14. Whitmer, shotgun, looking to throw, pressured, and he shovels it toward the back, incomplete.
Now you see why they're scared. They're worried about their quarterback's health. He would have gotten his head taken off had he handled that just a little bit longer. And the offensive line has they're not giving Whitmer any time, and here he is. He steps up. He's trying to just throw it away. He does attempt to shovel it up there, and he's got to be careful that didn't hit an offensive lineman, but he did get it up there where he could throw it away.
We saw Dunkley from the cornerback spot with the blitz. Deidre Sanat with the pressure up the middle, and now a punt, and no flag on the Bulls, at least for now. That one a booming punt, bouncing inside the 5, and it's a touchback. Well, that's a bad break for the Huskies. That was a beautiful punt. Well, Wayne did a good job, but just a little unlucky there. And we'll take a look to see, as that punt, did it hit that goal line? It did. It's a touchback. South Florida will get the ball.
Brought to you by Heineken. Open your world. Enjoy responsibly. And McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Well, trying to stay dry. Not those kids. They're happy to be out in the rain on this Friday night in Tampa. South Florida with the ball back. Each team has had the ball one time in this 3rd quarter. A couple longer sustained drives, eating away the clock. Under 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. And Marlon Mack, just no running room. These teams, Danny, in these conditions have just, I don't know if you could say they've gone into a shell, but the offensives are not wide open right now.
No, and now defenses, now you're starting to see both teams getting 8 defenders around that box, just daring the other team to throw it. And it's a pretty safe bet. You're going to get a wet ball for the quarterback who's going to have trouble completing it. The receiver's going to slip on their routes. Sooner or later, I do think you have to take a chance. At least try it. Keep them honest.
2nd and 11 after the loss of a yard. They're going to hand it off again. Marlon Mack straight ahead, met in the hole, but powering his way across the 25 out to the 28-yard line. That's a pretty good run, 9 yards or so, right through the safety, Andrew Adams.
And what's critical for both these teams is to get in these types of 3rd down situations where it's 3rd and 2 or 3, where you at least have some options. You can run it and get the first.
And it's a good point you make, and that's where some of the penalties, particularly against UConn's offense, had 3rd and manageable, false starts, penalties that have made it so much tougher on an already struggling offense. 3rd and 2, give it to Mack, and Mack powering, trying, lunging, and I think he got there. Right to the 30, that's where he needed to go.
It's pretty tight.
They say first down. The 1st and 10 Bulls. Well, it's Friday night. We got our Show Me Something. We asked you to participate. A couple of things that Danny's looking for come college football Saturday. How about this from Chip Timmons, the Miami Hurricanes? And I agree with Chip. The Hurricanes need to show us something going on the road to Lincoln. They need a big win.
Yes, they do. They had that disappointing performance on the first Monday night of the season versus Louisville. Brad Kaya, a true freshman quarterback, still kind of getting his confidence underneath him. In Nebraska, look on the flip side, they need a big win too. Should be a great game.
Oh, straight ahead running for Dearness Johnson. And look, the Hurricanes, they've sort of stabilized the program. They've done some good things. They've piled up some wins. I don't know if there's been a signature win for Al Golden. In this state, we're here in Tampa. mean, Hurricanes football, it sort of made a history off of big victories.
People thought the signature win was last year against Florida.
Yeah.
But then Florida, their season imploded. They had some injuries, so it didn't look as impressive. But that's a program with 5 national titles. They expect a lot.
Tight end in motion, 2nd and 7. Johnson gets the ball again, trying to cut back. Stewart was there, and Graham Stewart with the tackle. Stewart, who started his college career in Gainesville with the Florida Gators. Well, we got 15 minutes to go in the rain, in the muck in Tampa, South Florida, with the 14-7 lead.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by Heineken. Open your world. Enjoy responsibly. And McDonald's. I'm loving it.
In the rain, in the wind, start of the 4th quarter. UConn's only touchdown on an interception return right before halftime, and yet this is a ball game as we start the 4th quarter. Dave Fleming, Danny Cannell, Allison Williams, 3rd and 5. Mike White, the quarterback, in the shotgun. Back to pass with time, throws middle, and it's incomplete. The tight end, Mike McFarland, he had it and dropped it, and maybe that wet football a factor.
Sure looked like it. Mike White put it right on him. No gloves for the tight end McFarland, right in the hands.
Well, it's been that kind of game, and UConn's going to get the ball back. It's sort of against everything we've watched. The Huskies have a chance in this one. Deshaun Fox, who can be a dynamic returner. See if he has a chance to get one here. That's a booming punt. And Fox signals fair catch, watches it go over his head and roll inside the 5. My goodness. Well, that was a mistake by Fox. Great special teams. 14-7 South Florida. Celebrating its 10th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. Since 2005, Allstate has contributed more than $3.4 million in scholarship funds. A look at the field position for the UConn Huskies. They have been pinned deep all game long, right up against the goal line at the 3. To start this drive, DiLorenzo maybe to the 4. And then shoved backwards, Tayshawn Whitehurst. But forward progress, gained a yard or so. Just into the 4th quarter, and still a game despite UConn's inability to move the ball on offense.
They struggled running the ball. They struggled protecting the passer. At some point, I feel like they have to take a shot. Give Jeremy Davis a chance one-on-one. All these bodies packed in the box. Give him a shot on the outside.
They have not run a single play on offense in South Florida territory in the game. DiLorenzo maybe to the 5. Now, these are the drives so far tonight for UConn. That is not pretty.
It's consistent.
Well, you're right about that. And part of that, you look at the field position, part of that is the punter, Matthias Chabati, has done an excellent job for South Florida, and UConn, without much of a passing game in the rain, they have been pinned deep over and over again.
If they do throw, Whitmer's got to make sure he doesn't take a sack.
They haven't converted a 3rd down all game. They're not going to throw. DiLorenzo, and still trying to fight his way forward. Maybe some extra room for the punt, but UConn clearly just playing to punt the ball away and try to get some breathing room.
I am telling you, Dave, their plan is to just hang around. I mean, look at the play they had. The end of the first half, you're thinking, hey, South Florida's going to go in and score a touchdown. They get a fluke play. A receiver drops the ball, pops right into the hands of Jones on the outside. Just like that, it's a 7-point game. So they're hoping for the same type of turnaround. One big play. That's what they're preaching. One big play is all it takes.
Some pressure on the special teams. Wayne, the punter, gets one off. And receiving at the 45, almost immediately tackled Hassan Childs, but excellent field position for the Bulls of South Florida. Sends us to another timeout. South Florida gets the ball back up by 7.
ESPN is your home of the new college football playoff.
Well, the way this game has gone, it doesn't feel like the road to the college football playoff is through Raymond James Stadium tonight. It has been sloppy, but South Florida with a great opportunity here, starting their drive in UConn territory. A flag on the first play. Marlon Mack spinning forward down to about the 38-yard line. We'll see what the penalty is. I think it's going against the Bulls.
Legal formation, offense, 5 men in the backfield, 5-yard penalty. First down.
And just another foolish penalty. If you're South Florida, this is your opportunity. You cannot let UConn hang around. That's playing right into their hand. You have to take control of this game now.
I mean, that's out of a timeout. First play of a drive.
No excuse.
No
None.
pressure, no clock pressure. Just getting lined up wrong. Well, South Florida, they have at least been willing to throw the ball every once in a while. UConn has attempted 5 passes. They've completed 1 pass. We're several minutes into the fourth quarter. That one sniffed out by the UConn defense. Foley Fatukasi, a redshirt freshman who's got a chance to be a good player up front.
You just talked about South Florida at least attempting the pass, but that was primarily in the first half when they had success doing it. As the night's gone on and the conditions, the field's gotten sloppier and muddier and the balls have gotten heavier and significantly more wet. It's just been such a challenge. They have not been able to throw the ball, and that the defenses just start crowd the box and dare you to throw it.
Yep. The drops have been a huge factor on the interception that was returned for UConn's only touchdown, but not even just that play. White is going to roll, and another ball dropped. Rodney Adams, who had a big play to get a touchdown early in this one, couldn't hang on. And you said it. I mean, this is a drive that started in UConn territory. South Florida has let the Huskies just hang around in this game. And they're still hanging around.
Yeah. I mean, UConn, they're one fluke play away. You know, the ball hits the ground, they get a scoop and score, or they run the ball up the middle, and one of these runs gashes for them when they get the ball back. In South Florida, you do not want to let them still have that opportunity.
3rd and 16, play clock down to 2, and a delayed handoff. Mack straight ahead. Marlon Mack has the first down right to the 30-yard line.
Somebody had to step up, leave it up to the freshman. Taking the draw right out of there, a 3rd and 16 situation. UConn's back and dropping back into pass protection. Hits him right up the gap. That was big right there.
Nice block, Mike McFarland, the senior tight end, to help spring that one for a bigger gain. So 17 yards on 3rd and long. Marlon Mack straight ahead running again, pursued from behind, but strong enough to fall forward and get 5 yards.
I'd keep feeding him too.
Well, they won't be feeding him on this play.
Or give him a rest.
Give him a blow.
Look at that, right up the middle has been where he's had the most success. And this player coming into this game was averaging 133 yards a game, almost 7 yards a carry.
You got 93 in this one. Straight up the gut again. That's where they found their success on the ground. Darius Tice, the sophomore, with the nice carry for 9 more yards and another Bulls first down.
I'm all about taking a shot, but in this types of conditions where the balls are soaking wet, I say keep pounding them right up the middle, because they're doing exactly what we talked about, taking it to them. You're demoralizing UConn right here when everybody knows you're going to run it and they can't stop it.
So under 10 minutes to go, 1st and 10. They will motion at the line. A couple tight ends now on the left side. Price goes back in motion, becomes a fullback. All that motion, and that's what they got.
That's what they call window dressing. It's all for show.
Marlon Mack on the sideline trying to get dry. Still having fun in the rain. Some ponchos on, some off. UConn fans, not quite as much fun. Second and 9. Hand off. Trying to go straight up the gut again with Tice. It'll be third down.
It's a big third down for South Florida. It'll be interesting to see what play call Paul Wolf dials up. And don't think that play before half is in the back of his mind. When they tried to throw a quick hitch, it was an easy completion. You're thinking, hey, it's a gimme, but it popped right into UConn's hands. Wouldn't be surprised if they keep it on the ground here as well and take a field goal.
Well, they have a reliable field goal kicker, Marvin Claus. So we'll see. 3rd and 7. It's Johnson alongside. They are going to throw the ball toward the end zone, and that one almost intercepted, but there is a flag. Javon Williams with the coverage, a flag thrown, and that one's going against UConn.
That was a big break for South Florida because
Pass interference. Defense. Number 6. Automatic first down.
see right there, Rodney Adams running a little double move, and clearly Williams, number 6, grabbed his jersey right there. And, you know, you just talk about the risk you take when you throw it. The ball can just get away from you in a hurry.
Well, the freshman Javon Williams, if you're going to have some contact against a receiver, you got to learn how to make it a little more subtle than that.
Maybe don't grab the jersey. I'm surprised Marlon Mack is not in the game.
South Florida calls a timeout. Maybe they want the Mack to get in there. We'll find out when we come back.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Jimmy John's Freaky Fast Delivery and in part by Walmart. Introducing Savings Catcher. Go to walmart.com/savingscatcher to enter your receipt.
Well, if you might be wondering, what have I missed with UConn Huskies football tonight? That was it. That was the highlight. A pick 6, the only touchdown for UConn, and now with their backs against the wall, it's 1st and goal. And the handoff straight ahead. Power running near the goal line. Darius Tice down, not in. It'll be 2nd and goal.
You sure haven't missed a lot of offense if you're just joining us.
No, UConn's offense just hasn't been able to do anything.
No. The weather conditions contribute a lot to this. So have a look at Tice. I thought he had a pretty good push, but you see him down in the pile. He is down short of the goal line.
So good spot. From the pistol, handoff Tice, and he was swarmed. He lost a yard. He's back to the 2. It'll be 3rd and goal. And this becomes a huge play. UConn, it's hard to believe we're even saying it, that they have a chance to still be in this thing. And no Marlon Mack here near the goal line.
I'm surprised that number 5, Marlon Mack, is not in the game. Obviously, coaches, they might have a short yardage or a goal line package where they trust another back more than Mack. But from what we've seen tonight, man.
This is the no Todd Gurley near the goal line plan. Marlon Mack on the sideline. 3rd and goal. And a handoff. Straight ahead. He did not get there. Really didn't even get close. Shy of the 1-yard line. It'll be 4th and goal. And this is a big decision for the Bulls.
I don't think it is. I think it's a no-brainer. Kick the field goal. Give yourself a little bit of breathing room up at that scoreboard.
I mean, you have to ask the question, can UConn score twice?
Oh, that's why it's a no-brainer.
But very disappointing for South Florida. 1st and goal from around the 3, and they don't get in. Good job by the UConn run defense. Just basically an extra point. High snap and a good hold, sort of saved that one. The field goal up and good from Marvin Claus. Well, that wasn't perfect, but the Bulls get the field goal through. Can UConn score 10 points in the final 6:03? We'll find out after this. ESPN brings you college football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels. Mississippi State on the road to take on LSU in Baton Rouge. The 8th-ranked Tigers at home Saturday at 7 on ESPN. A very big game in the SEC with some folks thinking that Mississippi State has a chance to go in there and pull off what would be an upset.
11 straight times they've been to Baton Rouge and have not been able to do it. They're looking to break that streak. They might have the quarterback that can do it. But LSU's got a lot of studs on the defensive side of the ball, and that is a tough place to go into.
Well, and it could be a game that sort of feels like this one, with defense taking charge. That's often the way that LSU likes to do it at home. This has been partially by design, partially because of the weather. Maybe UConn can come up with a play in special teams. No. A return by Newsom across the 25. With the Huskies getting the ball back, 5:58 to go, and down by 10, South Florida with the 17-7 lead. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Jimmy John's. A little lonely up top here at soggy Raymond James. Now, the question for UConn, first downs, they've got 3 of them in this game. Their only 7 points came on defense. They have not been able to pass the ball. Their only pass completion, only one of the game, an 8-yard screen pass. They have to throw now. Whitmer, and dropped. My goodness. So incomplete. Let's check in with Allison Williams.
It's an interesting dynamic on the USF sideline, because while they've dominated the game statistically, they aren't necessarily on the scoreboard. So coaches made sure the defense was aware of this and that they stay locked in. They were reminded numerous times of the score and the time left in the game. The message: do not let up, do not lose focus.
2nd and 10 for UConn. Whitmer has some time, and he'll throw a big hit immediately after the catch. Fox did hang on for the catch. The USF defense, they've been impressive.
Well, started off first drive. Chris Dunkley comes off the edge. The corner blitz forces the turnover. And then they've shut down the run pretty effective. Eric Lee, big number 91. A big hit there. Another one off the edge. UConn has not had anywhere to run, and they haven't even attempted to pass, but they have to in this situation. And man, the first drop on first down really hurt them.
You have to. You're down 2 scores, just over 5 minutes to go. Whitmer pressured and brought down. In the backfield, the sack by Derek Callaway. UConn's offense just nothing.
And this is when the South Florida defense just pins their ears back, and Derek Callaway just came right up the middle.
Not quite untouched, unblocked,
no,
but close to it.
That was the Olay block.
And now the punt. Justin Wayne, good punt. And way back there, fair catch, Hassan Childs. So USF will get the ball back. And if you think they've been conservative so far, up by 10 with 4:31 to go, with UConn playing the way it has been on offense, they will keep the ball on the ground here.
Big Marlon Mack coming back in. Looks like he's going to come back on the field. And now, if you're a coach in the huddle, or if you're Mike White, the quarterback in that huddle, just want to re-emphasize in this 4-minute type situation, hey, wrap the ball up, no penalties, make sure you stay in bounds when you get tackled, and try to close out this game and use up as much of that play clock as you can.
Now the sophomore Mike White, he's done some good things despite what the scoreboard says the number. He's made a lot of good throws, but he won't be throwing the ball here. On first down, Mack gets the carry, and Mack bouncing off tacklers, still going. Just about 9 yards on first down, and that gets him over 100 for the game. Now whistles and a timeout. So UConn calls a timeout. Last chance really here for the Huskies. Down 10, 4:18 to go here in very wet Tampa. Bob Diaco just trying for a miracle here for the Huskies.
Hey fans, want to get to know your USF Bulls a little bit more? Then check out the USF Football New Era on the
Mac and Company. We'll talk about this one and we'll be back right after this. Wow. Well, the band playing through the rain, kicking up some ocean spray here in Tampa. I like that.
Cool effect right there.
South Florida trying to grind this game out. Marlon Mack with the carry, and he's going to get the first down. Even with the first down, Bob Diaco ran on the field, and I don't know if he called a timeout or not. UConn has 2 left. And now he does want the timeout.
Second charge, timeout, UConn.
So another stoppage here. UConn down by 10, 4:13 to go. Really just the start of a weekend that features conference games like this one and some very big ones around college football. We've talked a little bit about Florida on the road in Tuscaloosa. Give me a key matchup, Danny, of that
This one, big one right here. How about Florida's pass game? Demarcus Robinson really had a huge game against Kentucky, 18 catches. And then Cyrus Jones, who has been much maligned in the secondary for Alabama. He's going to get tested against this new offense where Jeff Driscoll, his confidence is starting to grow. And that's really been Alabama's weakness. You saw it against West Virginia. It's the secondary. Can Florida exploit that on the road in Tuscaloosa?
So what do you think? Some people think they can. Some people think the Gators actually have a chance for what would be a big upset.
If you would have asked me at the end of the first half against Kentucky, I would have said no chance. It was 3-3. But Florida's offense really started to catch some momentum. They started to gain confidence, put up some points, won that game. I know it's not a big win when you beat Kentucky, but that was a momentum shifter. I think it'll be a close game.
1st and 10 for South Florida. 4:13 to go. Up by 10. Marlon Mack, the freshman, with another carry. This time maybe a half a yard. Well, Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo. Clemson, Florida State. So the Seminoles, while the Gators go on the road, Florida State stays at home. And a real test in the ACC.
This is a real test, especially when you consider Jameis Winston benched. And I feel it was absolutely the right decision from Florida State to do that. Very disappointed in Jameis Winston that he made yet another immature mistake. And now Sean McGuire's got to step up to the table and cram. He's been having a cram session, in 3 days. Now, if you're a backup, you're supposed to prepare like you're going to play every time. But I'm sure he's putting in a lot of extra film study and getting in his playbook. And it's an opportunity for Florida State to make a statement. A lot of people have not been impressed, including myself.
Well, Friday focus, game day getting set up in Tallahassee, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And the crew with the production meetings talking about, I'm sure, Jameis Winston, the impact that'll have on the Seminoles. Beautiful setting. It'll be a great scene there. If that game were on the road without Jameis Winston for a half, I think you'd be talking about some real trouble. And maybe Florida State can survive that playing at home. Handoff on 2nd down. UConn is out of timeouts now, so the clock will run. It'll be 3rd down coming up.
How about this game, the way it's unfolded? I mean, nobody expected a lot of points scored. I mean, this had the lowest total from the experts in Vegas at 43. It was the lowest line in the whole weekend.
All weekend.
And they haven't even sniffed it. So I think it's even been surprising how little offense there's been. But when you look at the conditions, the weather, it has just been a nasty night.
I guess the experts knew that UConn was just going to not even try to throw the ball. The Huskies have attempted 6 passes. They've completed 2 passes. So this has a chance, and UConn may get the ball back here. This has a chance to be the worst offensive game in the history of UConn's football program. Now a penalty flag.
Offense number 64. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Well, the one hope for UConn is, okay, you stop them, the clock still moves, you get the ball back, somehow you come up with a miracle, you go down the field and score, and maybe you can onside kick it. But Bob Diaco, he was very frank about it. His defense has played well, but talking to us, the problems up front, that offensive line, have sort of limited what they can do.
It all starts up front on both sides of the ball, offense and defensive line. And that's where you build good teams, from the inside out.
South Florida's offense hadn't exactly been explosive. 279 total yards. Well, that was almost a miscommunication. Wow.
That would have been a disaster.
That could have been a disaster. Marlon Mack did a nice job just to make sure he took the ball and hung on. Well, that's the only thing you don't want in this situation for South Florida, is to have a fumble, a big mistake.
They called the draw, and White's trying to sell the pass, and it was just a little too close for comfort. You almost even want to bail on any look of a pass because nobody thinks you're going to. Just make sure you get a clean handoff. And this punt's big too. I mean, it's wet. You want to make sure you get a good snap and get it off. There was a high snap earlier in the game.
So you got to hang on to the ball, get a good snap in the rain, and just get the punt off. Now a timeout.
Second charge, timeout, South Florida.
Willie Taggart didn't like something about that setup there. Look, it's a conference game in the American, first conference game on either side, both UConn and South Florida. And from the looks of things, neither team feels like a real contender in this conference. But, I mean, it's a wide open league. UCF has a talented team, but without Blake Bortles, East Carolina's been really impressive. But the league feels wide open.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. I would. East Carolina, to me, with Shane Carden at the quarterback position, is an impressive bunch. UConn here, I'm sure they're talking up this special teams unit because your offense sure isn't doing a lot. That they've got to try to go after this punt and block one, or hopefully get a bad snap and create a turnover.
Force a mistake, get a block, maybe you come up with a return, something.
And that's why that timeout was called from South Florida, to coach up this unit to make sure the protection is correct.
2:07 to go. South Florida up by 10 on a night for defense. And an angled end-over-end kick. One bounce, and Fox will take it. Makes the first guy miss, not the second. Dragged down at around the 24-yard line. Well, when we're done here in Tampa, we're going to go to Robert Flores, Kevin Connors. They've got Sports Center coming up next. And the big story of the day, not just the Roger Goodell news conference, but that outside the lines story, new information on what the Ravens knew when they knew it about the Ray Rice incident. And Clayton Kershaw with a huge performance coming down the stretch for the Dodgers.
Let's make that the lead story. The year Clayton Kershaw has had. There's so much bad news out there. It's been so just ugly. It's been an ugly couple weeks for the NFL. And I know there's the issues that need to be resolved. But man, there's still a lot of great sports stories and great athletes out there too.
20th win for Kershaw in 26 starts. There's a pass completion. And along the sideline, Noel Thomas, the sophomore, with the catch. 1:52 to go. UConn with their third pass completion of the game. You have no timeouts. You can't waste any time here. Chandler Whitmer from the shotgun. Got a little time this time. Rolling right, though. Nowhere to go with the ball. Downfield, and it is caught. Deshaun Fox into USF territory, so that's about the best offensive play of the night for UConn.
By far. Chandler Whitmer scrambling a little bit to his right, getting outside of the pocket. And Deshaun Fox making a nice catch as he slides to the ground. And now they got to pick up the tempo, get the snap off quickly.
26 yards. This is the first play from scrimmage in South Florida territory of the game for UConn's offense. And another catch by Thomas. He gets out of bounds. Well, a little life here from the Huskies late, and probably too little too late. But they're over 100 yards of offense for the game.
Is that supposed to be a bright spot?
I'm just, you know. It may not be a record performance, 113 yards. Well, 2nd and 3, Whitmer. Pressured, throws, and it's caught. And that will be a touchdown. Jeremy Davis, his first catch. He broke a tackle. He's into the end zone, and this game is not over.
Where has that been all night?
32 yards from Whitmer to Davis. And why weren't they throwing it earlier?
No, exactly. Going down the field, straight up the middle. And this is some poor tackling from South Florida, but the loose footing, you saw the safety number 22, Hassan Childs, slipped and fell down as he comes in the screen to get a walk-in touchdown.
Well, this will be an extra point try, and then we'll have an onside kick try. Bobby Puyol. The kick is up, and it is good. Well, against all odds, considering the way this game has gone, this one is not over.
I think stranger things have happened, right?
Very much so.
Again, you kick that ball. If you kick it on the onside kick, it's going to get wet. You kick it along the ground, hopefully get that big hop, and then everybody's hands are slick.
Well, it gives you a little bit of an advantage. This series, and it's not like there's great history between these two teams, but there's a lot of close history. That's a kick that basically sent UConn to the Fiesta Bowl, to a BCS Bowl back in 2009. In 2010, another close call and another field goal good for the Huskies in a 3-point win at the very end. So in the last few years, and we're playing true to form here tonight. Last 7 meetings decided by 7 points or fewer. And you figure this one is going to be. So Bob Diaco, and you have to give his team some credit. They have not gone away. The defense in particular is held up with almost no help from the offense until the very end. And I like your point. UConn's got to get the recovery here, but you're talking about a wet football and maybe a better chance to get the onside kick. So here we go. Puyol. And the big bouncer. It hit a Bulls player. The ball's on the ground. There is a flag down. And USF fell on the football. So unless that penalty's against South Florida, that basically will end the game. They had a chance to come up with that one. It is South Florida football.
Bobby Puyol, that was a great onside kick. Just kind of kicked a little low.
Perfect.
Worm burner right at him. Caught a couple players. It was bouncing off like a pinball.
And the recovery there by Corey and Hamilton. And we'll see what this penalty is.
Offside,
I'm assuming it is.
Offside. Kicking team. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, a disappointment for Bob Diaco. He knows that's going to do it. Yep.
Just at the top of the screen. Trying to get a good jump. That's a game-saving grab.
Well, Thomas Lucas was coming in there to grab the ball for the Huskies. And it would have been negated by the penalty anyway. But now all South Florida has to do is execute the snap here. They don't even go under center for that.
That's crazy. I've never even seen that before. It's going to hurt your rushing total. You're taking 4 yards a pop on these. And this slop right now that they're in, it's probably the safest bet.
And maybe that's what they're figuring.
Yeah.
Willie Taggart, and his program needs wins. And this is a South Florida program that had a proud stretch and a lot of talent and has fallen on hard times. And after a disastrous performance last week on this field against NC State, a good job by his defense. Not a terrible performance considering the conditions by his offense. That will be the final play of this game. So South Florida in the rain, Danny, comes up with a win at home.
Hey, it might have been ugly, but all that matters, you got the W. Hopefully you carry some momentum from this and you start your conference playoff right.
Well, 2 young coaches trying to get their programs turned around. And on a tough night for football, Willie Taggart and his South Florida Bulls with a victory. Jeremy Davis made it interesting with his touchdown catch toward the end. Final score here from Tampa. South Florida 17, UConn 14 for Allison Williams and Danny Cannell. Dave Fleming saying so long here from Raymond James Stadium.
Everybody